Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I am going to share with you the brand new 2020 Cultivate What Matters Power Sheets. I was going to kick off this video with a front-facing intro talking about how much I love the Power Sheets and how much they've changed my life, and I'm going to do a little bit of that, but we have so much to get through today, I thought I would just go ahead and start top down. So, quick background, the Power Sheets are a goal-setting planner. They are not a weekly or daily planner. They are specifically meant to help you figure out what your goals should be, what's important to you in your life, and help you create goals around those things. I told the story of my background with the Power Sheets in last year's video, so if you want to hear a little bit more about when I first tried the Power Sheets years ago, you can go check out that video. In this video, I'm just gonna talk about this past year in 2019 and how much the Power Sheets have absolutely changed the way that I approach goal setting. Of course, I've always had goals. I mean, who hasn't? I feel like every year I set a bunch of resolutions on January 1st. But the biggest thing that has changed for me is that I've understood that I can't get it all done in January. I can't even get it all done in the first quarter. I probably won't even get it all done in the entire year. But the Power Sheets have helped me figure out which goals are most important and create baby steps and action plans to actually make progress on those goals over the entire year. So this year I have read more books than I probably read my entire adult life, like my entire post-college life. I cleaned my Tupperware cabinet and kept it clean. There are just so many things that I've done this year that I've tried to do in prior years and had very little success with. So that is all I'm gonna say about the Power Sheets themselves. If you want a little bit more insight on how I use them, I do post a monthly check-in video every single month where I share how my goals went for the prior month and all the goals that I have set up for the upcoming month, and you can see a little bit more about how they play into my everyday life. But for this video, we're talking about the new ones. And I'm gonna talk about all the changes from last year. We're gonna do some product comparisons. I'm gonna show you all the insides, like not every single page. I'm not gonna flip through every month because the months all look the same, but I'll show you a lot of the inside pages. And then at the end, we'll talk through some of the new accessories. They have a lot of new accessories available on launch day this year. And then I will share some of the discounts that they have available for launch day. So this is gonna be a super long video. We're gonna get right into it and start by talking about the outside changes of the Power Sheets this year. And the biggest one that a lot of people are so excited about, and me included, is the hard cover. So the cover last year was somewhat of it was like a thick cardstock. It's smooth. It's like a coated thick cardstock. And it is pretty durable. I mean, they did a test last year where they ran over it with a car, and I mean, it is durable. I have thrown this in like my backpack and it has definitely like stood up to some wear and tear, but I just think that this beautiful hardcover is gonna just make a huge difference this year. You can see the other major difference is the coil. So last year they had a plastic coil and now they are doing this, I think it's called Wire O bound coil. It is gold, you don't get to pick a different color. If you've been around, gold is not my favorite of the foil metal options, but I like the upgrade in the coil. And then there are some metal corner covers on the hardbound cover, which is really helpful because if you are like traveling with this at all, if you're putting it in a bag, if you're carrying it anywhere. Now, don't get me wrong, it is big and heavy. It's a large planner. So it's not something that I carry around all the time at all. But sometimes I would take it places because I'm traveling and I want to work on them, or because I'm going to a coffee shop to work on them, and having those corners is super nice. From a size perspective, they're about the same width as last year's. They're a little bit taller. I guess I need to do it this way for you to actually see that. They're a little bit taller than last year's planners, as you can see, because of the, I don't know if that's just the nature of the hardbound or they just wanted the pages inside to be a little bit more protected. I also, well, I hope that it protects the tabs a little bit more because some of my tabs did get a little bit ruined when it was in a bag. So we'll see if the hardbound cover makes a difference there. So as you can see here, I chose this confetti cover. That's what it's called, confetti. It is just all the colors, multicolored, this gorgeous pattern. They've had this pattern for a while. This is one of the signature patterns of the company. And last year, as you could see, all the covers had that same pattern, but they were different like color schemes. So I got the pink and the orange one. They had a teal one, a yellow one, and then a multicolored one, which I didn't get last year. So I was really excited to get that this year. They do have 4 different cover options. So this is just a little like product pamphlet that they included in my PR box. I know that some people got these in the mail if you've ordered from the company before. I don't know if they're including this in every order that goes out with the brand new Power Sheets, but I am really excited to have this to show you a bunch of the new products. So there are 4 different covers. So they have this really pretty flower print, which I absolutely love too. I'm not a big floral person, but these big bold flowers are just really speak to me. And then they have 2 solid colored ones that have a different feel to the cover, like the material is different. So mine is super smooth, but these apparently are a much more linen texture. So there's a teal and a pink. And I chose mine based on aesthetics alone. I didn't see any of these like word theories when I picked mine. I got an email that said, here are the options. Which one would you like us to send you? And I chose the confetti based on aesthetics alone. Once I saw the release of the words, I really was like, oh, I kind of feel like I want to order the pink one because those words really feel like, that's how I feel right now. That's what I feel like I need, at least when I saw this release. I feel like I needed all of these things. However, I think now that the majority of my 2020 is going to be focused on wedding planning, I think that these words are exactly what I need. I think that it's going to be perfect. I think that it was meant to be my cover choice for 2020. So I'm really excited about it. And here are the other options. The other big change from like a design aspect this year is this pocket that's on the inside. This is brand new. Now it is a paper pocket. So it definitely like could rip if you pull on it too hard. It is very tight though. Like you're not going to fit a whole lot in there. And I don't know. I don't know if it's going to stretch out over time, but it is super, super tight. Like I don't even know if you could fit like a notebook in there, maybe a really skinny notebook, but it is a super tight pocket. It's very interesting. A couple things that come inside. There's always this like protecting cardstock sheet. There's always this little card that says, you know, all those things you've wanted to go do, you should go do them. There is a card for you to write your word of the year. This looks the same as it did last year. And then there's a card that says 2020, let's do this. I have my 2019 one actually on my desk, like so I can see it when I sit at my desk. All right, let's get to the insides. So the paper this year is the same paper as last year. I did a pen test last year, so I'm not gonna do that again this year since it's the same paper. You can go watch that video if you wanna see the pen test. I ended up using a Papermate Flare all year, and I'm gonna do the same thing again this year because I loved using the Papermate Flare in this planner. It wrote really nicely on the paper, and I love the way that it looked. I actually ordered a brand new pack for this year before I dive in. So I'm gonna flip through page by page and I'm gonna comment on whether this was in the 2019 version, has it changed, has it moved around? Some of the pages are in there, but they're in a different order than they were last year. I think that a lot of the changes that they made, I think are going to be very helpful when it comes to goal setting. I'll share with you the one change that I feel like it feels a little bit out of order to me, but I do trust their method when it comes to this process. So I trust that they did what they did for a reason. So let's go ahead and start flipping. This page is always kind of the same, just sort of like advertisement and then sort of an overview of like what you're about to get into. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a little bit of trouble turning the pages. It just keeps getting stuck a little bit. I don't know what that is. Hopefully that loosens up. Like I literally just got this in the mail today. So hopefully as I, mess with the pages and start using it, it'll loosen up a little bit. So I really like this page that says like, maybe you're afraid to start writing because it's so perfect and pretty. And I think that that was also a struggle I had in 2019. I always felt like it had to be perfect and pretty. And this year I'm gonna try and get a little bit messier with it. To the point where I'm gonna add things in, or I'm gonna I wanna use it more, and I want it to look used. I want it to look like I used it. My one this year probably doesn't look like I used it all that much. So then we have the first page where you write your name. This looks very similar to last year, and then a quote page, and then the stickers. This is all in the exact same order it was last year. The stickers do look very similar to last year. The biggest difference are these flowers because that is a new design for this year. We'll talk a little bit more about stickers when we get to the sticker book that's part of the accessories. So then it starts with just a 2020 goal ideas page, just like a brain dump of all the ideas you have for 2020. This is not exactly the same. Some of the words are different, but this page was in last year's version as well. I actually did like a mind map where I would write something in the middle and then like draw little bubbles coming off of it. I might do the same thing this year. We'll see. All right, this is sort of the first page that I think is a little bit different and is a theme that we're gonna see as we sort of flip through the prep work. There is a lot more, I feel like, guidance in this year's Power Sheets. I feel like there are a lot more words that are like trying to help you through this process. Instead of just a question with a blank space, there are like paragraphs that are trying to help you work through everything. There's just a lot more of that in this set than there were in last year, which I think can be really helpful. I think it's gonna be helpful for everybody, especially if it's your first time, but I also think it's gonna be really helpful for anybody setting goals. So this page was actually not in last year's version. I mean, the quote was, but all this extra stuff was not. Now I haven't read through all of it yet, so maybe it was like sprinkled throughout, but I really like that there is a little bit more to sort of guide you through the process. So then you have this page where it's got like questions about yourself, you know, things that describe you and what you value. There's a very similar page in last year's version. Page 10, again, more words, like this page telling you like what to do and how to work through this and what to think about, because I do think goal setting is just a lot of its mindset, and I think that's where something like this, a tool like this, really comes in handy. So this page is new from last year. This page is not new, but it is way earlier than it was. It used to be way further down the line, and now it is very close to the front, which, you know, I think that that's really valuable. I think talking about what gets you excited and what makes you happy, I think is something that's really important to identify early on, because that should really be part of your goals. I think I looked at this page last year as a rewards page. Like, these are the things that are gonna be rewards for when I achieve my goals, when in reality, if these things fire me up, shouldn't those be my goals? Now, things like eating my vegetables doesn't fire me up, but it probably should be part of my goals. So there's a balance. All right, these two pages, very similar to the pages from last year. You have 8 different categories and you're gonna evaluate them on a scale of 1 to 10. They also encourage you to change the categories. I know last year I changed the work category because truthfully, I'm not using this for my work at all. Not that I don't have goals at work, but I have a goal setting system at work. I don't need to use this for my work life. The biggest difference here is there was a whole second page, or third page rather, where you talked about your top 3 from these categories, and now they just want you to do it right on this page, which I thought was really interesting. That saved like a whole page in the prep work. Okay, so these next 2 pages are very similar to pages that they had before, but they were a little bit earlier. They were sort of right after this like questionnaire about you. They were right behind that. So they're a little bit later now, which I think is fair. I don't know that that really makes a difference. I understand from a mindset and that achieving goals is believing that you can achieve them, and that this page really helps you like get over that hump. From actually setting my goals, I don't know if these pages really help me with that, but that's just a personal opinion. And then you have a quote. So there used to be another page here, and this is the only page that I don't see it anywhere else in the Power Sheets. The only page that we seem to have lost, so to speak, from the 2019 prep work, which is fine. It wasn't a page that was necessarily life-changing for me. It was about things that you need to let go of. It's very similar to the fears, but we're talking about a missing page, which I'm not gonna share with you because there are some things on my page that I don't want to share, but that's the only one that seems to be missing. And I think for me, I'm okay that it's missing because I don't feel like it really had an impact on what I set my goals as, but I can see from a mindset perspective the value that a page like that brings. Okay, so then we have the fear page, which this looks very similar to the page from last year. Okay, and then we have the good things and challenges spread. This is very similar to last year as well. Again, some of these words are gonna be different, but the overall structure of the page is very, very much the same. I really love this page, and I do think that after going through the Power Sheets in 2020, I'm gonna have a lot more to write on these pages. All right, and then these pages, again, very similar from last year. All these same questions were part of last year's. I also really like these pages. Let's keep flipping. Again, this video is gonna be so long. Another page of like words and guidance. I love having these. I wish there were more of these because I do think a lot of it is like thinking through it, and I really appreciate those. Then there's the big picture page. Now this page was in the Power Sheets last year, but this year they split it up into 2 columns. So last year it said like the big picture, what will and what won't matter to you. And then it just had a bunch of space. And I did notice on mine, I went back and looked at it, I mostly answered just this question and what will matter to me. And I didn't really talk about what won't. I thought that was interesting. So now I'm glad that there's 2 columns, so that really forces me to answer both pieces of the question. Then there's another beautiful quote. And then this page is totally new. There was nothing like this in the Power Sheets last year, talking about your legacy and what you want to leave behind. And I really appreciate this page because Sam and I actually just recently had a conversation very similar to this. We answered a bunch of questions that was in an article that the Cultivate What Matters team shared, and we talked about them during our road trip. And I really feel like this is an important page. So I really appreciate this addition. Now we get to the threads. So they talk about this topic called threads, and I mean, I'm not going to go through all of it, but it's just about finding commonalities between all your answers from thus far. Everything that you've answered, what are some things that you keep seeing pop up? And what I think is really interesting is that this is much earlier than it was last time. So last time it started on page 35, and this time it's starting on page 26, which means there are like 10 pages of questions that you're not answering before you do this part. And as we go through what's behind it, I will say that some of it I feel like is good that it's afterwards. I can see the value in it. Some of it I wish was before still, but that's okay. Like I said, I trust their process. So this page is just much earlier than it was in the past. This page is new. This my cultivated year page, and sort of these like another sort of vision page and just blank space. And then we have a brainstorm page and like a big picture vision and just a place for you to write any goal ideas that you could possibly have. This is the same as last year. This is what used to immediately follow the threads. This is one of my all-time favorite pages, and this is one of the ones that I really felt like I wish was before the threads. So it's a column of things you're saying no to and a column of things that you're saying yes to. This, again, was one of my favorite pages to fill out last year and to go back and look at, especially when I was maybe struggling to come up with some of my action items each month. But I do wish that this page came before the thread page, but that's just me. And then there's choosing your word of the year. Now, this is one of the things I think is good to come behind the threads page. So last year it was before. So you actually picked your word of the year before you sort of went through all your questions. Now, it still told you to like go through all your answers to try and find a theme to figure out your word of the year, but I think it fits better after you do the thread activity. So I really like that it's after. This piece of the word of the year is very similar. This page is new. It's this beautiful floral print. Again, you write your word of the year and then you write why. This piece in particular is new this year, but I think that that's really valuable. And then this page is also something that was before the threads and it's after now. I'm a little indifferent to this page. Part of me kind of wishes it was before, but part of me is kind of okay with it being after. I do like this page. I think it's a nice sort of summary page of what your year will look like, what you want your life to look like. So I do really like this page. I wish I had gone back and looked at mine more in 2019. All right, and then the last thing before you actually set your goals is a vision board. And truthfully, I never went back and looked at my vision board. I don't really have a feeling for whether I like it or I don't like it here. Like I said, I never went back and looked at it. Maybe now that it's right by the goals tab and this is somewhere that I will come back to, I'll look at it more. I ended up like actually making mine on the computer and then printing it out as like just one page and glued it in. But I'm not really sure. This page in and of itself didn't necessarily make or break my process here. So overall, like all the questions, like all the what they consider the prep work is the same number of pages. It was 34 pages last year. It's 34 pages this year. Now, it's not actually 34 pages, okay? Because it doesn't actually start until page 5, and that's just writing your name. And there are a lot of quote pages and like guidance pages. There's probably only like 20-ish pages of actual questions that you have to answer. I will say it does take a decent amount of time to do that, and you need to make sure if you are working on the Power Sheets this year that you give yourself enough time to get through all this prep work, because we haven't even gotten to the actual setting of the goals. This is just answering questions to figure out what's important. So now we get to the actual goal setting. So it's a new tab, and just like last year, the pages with the tab is more of a thick cardstock. The tabs are laminated and they're all the same color as they were last year. Oh, again with that beautiful floral print. All right, so then it talks about setting your goals and what goals mean. And then it talks about how to choose your goals. Now, these pages are very, very different from last year. I think the process might be the same, but they've changed the way they have you do it. So last year it was these like boxes where you had to summarize things. You had to put things into categories and then summarize them together. And truthfully, I didn't really get it. I actually didn't like those pages, and I felt like I was already trying to set my goals. It just wasn't helpful. But these pages, I haven't read through all of it yet, but it does seem like it's very, very helpful and a much more valuable process than the process from last year. So I really like these pages. And then the other big change for this year is there are only spots for 8 goals. That's it. Last year, and I think for a lot of years prior, there was space for 10. Now, I actually only ended up with 8, and a lot of people that I saw did not fill in all 10 spots, but I found it very interesting that this year they only have space for 8, which I think is very cool. I think you really probably shouldn't do more than 8 goals anyways. And the other big part of it is you're doing a refresh every 3 months and you're redoing these 8 goals, and some of them may stay the same and some of them may change. Either way though, you can't have more than 8 for that particular quarter, and I think that that's really helpful. The other big change to this goal section is you have your goals and then you have your action sheets. So there's going to be an action plan for each individual goal. Last year, they were flipped around. So you did all these individual action plans and then you went and summarized your goals. Now, I see the value both ways. So at first, when it was that way, I was like, that's backwards. I should do my goals and then go do my action plans. But then I watched either one of Laura Casey's videos or something on Instagram where what you want to summarize your goal as may come out of answering these questions on the action pages. So then it made sense to me. I was like, okay, you're right. I might write something as my goal for this year, and then I fill out all these things in my mini goals, and then what I want to write here is going to be a little bit different. I see the value both ways. I don't think it's that big of a deal that they switch places, but it is something to know that's different if you did use them last year. The other big change on this page is that they have you break it down into 3 mini goals and then each mini goal into 3 starting steps. I can actually show you a blank one because, like I said, I only did 8 and there was space for 10. So I have a blank one that I can show you. So this side is pretty similar. These 2 pages are pretty similar, but this side is very different. So it had just like a brain dump space for you to write a bunch of ideas, and then you picked 3 starting steps. Now you pick 3 mini goals and then 3 starting steps for each, and then there's a notes section. I think that this is much better. I think this is much more helpful than this. We'll find out when I actually do it, but I really like the change to this page. So again, you have one of each of these for all of your 8 goals. And then you have a year at a glance. I never used this page. I started to use it at the beginning and then I never went back and referenced it because I wrote something that made no sense. And well, I mean, it made sense, but it didn't end up happening. It didn't come to fruition. And so I just sort of didn't use these pages. I still don't know if I'm going to use these pages. I might actually ask like the Facebook group if they have recommendations on how they use these pages better because I didn't use them. And I kind of want to. I think that it could be valuable, but who knows. Okay, now let's get into the monthly sections. These have changed quite a bit, and in my opinion, for the better all around. So I will be honest and start by saying I rarely fill out all the things on the monthly sections besides the tending list. I just didn't do it. I always felt, and this is gonna sound awful, but I always felt like my time was more valuable than filling out all these other sections, and that I could create my tending list on my own without filling out these other sections, and that it was gonna be fine, and I didn't need to do that. I'm here to say that I was wrong, and I know that everything that they put in the book is there for a reason and that there's a purpose for each of these steps. And the reality is it doesn't take that long to do it. And one of my goals, I can already tell you, for 2020 is going to be to actually do the whole monthly section every single month. Now, it does help that they have simplified the monthly section, which I really appreciate. So again, I can show you a blank one. We can flip to November. So basically what they did was they took these 2 pages, so this one, and combined it to one. And they kept some of the categories and they changed some of the categories. And again, I think having less categories is helpful. I think it's more likely to have people do it, i.e. me, and it's just less overwhelming. I think the smaller sections are also less overwhelming. Like, this is such a big section for fears I have every single month. Like, fears I have every single month, that's so big. From this page, it keeps I'm hopeful that it has what's stressing me out, and then it eliminates the fears. And then from this page, it has I'm excited for and important to-dos. And then instead of this on my calendar category, we have a monthly layout. In my opinion, is the biggest game changer in the Power Sheets next year. I think having a space in your Power Sheets to actually map out when you are going to do the things that you say you're going to do is game changing. I think that being able to say, okay, well, here are the monthly action items. Here is when I can actually do them in the month. And again, I'm going to try to be better about being okay with it being messy. Let me create a plan at the beginning of the month. And if I have to cross it off and move it to another day, that's okay. But at least there's a plan in place that if it works out, then it's there, versus the way that I have been approaching it, which is, oh, well, when I find time in the month, then I will go look at my monthly action item list and then do one of those. Like, that's not going to get everything done. So I'm really excited about this layout. Again, I think this is going to make a huge difference for me and hopefully a lot of other people as well. And it's going to force me to actually use my Cultivate What Matters washi, which I did not do a good job of this year. Then you have these 2 pages. These are just in January. It's just a tending list tip on creating your tending list and then a little quote, but these pages are not in any of the other months. So then we have the goals idea page. And what I like about this, first off, is that it's got a little bit of category split. Like this one just wanted you to do a brain dump, and this felt overwhelming to me. And I didn't want to do that, which is why I never did it any other month. It also felt a little bit repetitive to me to then transfer it to the tending list. Now that's still true, but at least there's 2 columns. So I feel like there's a little bit more structure and it's guiding me a little bit more. And then I like that it's next to the tending list so you can see it right there while you're working on it, versus last year, it was this weird flip where you had to, if you wrote it here, if I wrote all my ideas down, then I was flipping back and forth to this page. One of the other things that I did last year was I would put sticky notes on my tending list the month before, and then I would write ideas as they came to me. And now I'm gonna try and just write them actually on here. If I have an idea, I'm just gonna write it on there. And if I don't end up using it, what's the big deal? So I'm really excited about this switch. I think that it's a really good change to have them right next to each other and to have this one have these 2 separate categories. The tending list itself has not changed at all. The font got a little bit bigger, but that's the only change from last year. So this one has stayed exactly the same, which I think is helpful. The only thing I do wish they would change on this page, I wish there was a place to write the dates for the weeks. Because as much as we all would like to, the month never starts on a Monday. I mean, it did once this year, and that was really awesome, but that is rare. And so to know well, am I talking about the first full week of the month or the week the month starts? So sometimes I was actually writing the days on top of it, but I wish there was actually a space to write that, but that's just a personal preference. All right, and then you have a blank page on the back because if you want to rip this out, that you're not losing anything. You can also add a wildcard sheet here. We'll talk a little bit more about those later. And then the last page in the month is the month in review. I will show you a blank one. It looks exactly the same from a category perspective, but the design is different. This one's got some color to it. I do like the color better. I will also admit though that I rarely ever did these 2. I don't know why. I just felt like it wasn't worth my time, but I'm gonna try to be better about that in 2020. So those are the monthly sections. That's gonna be the exact same setup for every single month. So this first page with the 4 categories, the monthly layout, the ideas, goals, brain dump page, the tending list, and then the month in review. Then there are the quarterly check-ins, and these also look very, very similar to last year. So there's one page that is very specific to the quarter. Then there is a refresh on the 8 categories in your life. And then there is a refresh on the 8 goals. I'm gonna be honest here too. The only one of these I ever did was spring, because in my head, I was like, why am I gonna change my goals? My goals are the same for the whole year. Why? I just went through 34 pages of prep work to come up with these 8 goals. Why would I change them? And when I look back on it, I should have refreshed them and should have done that. So that's also gonna be a goal of mine in 2020, is to also do all the quarterly refreshes, and just know that I need to set aside more time at the end of each quarter to actually go through them. But those all look the same as well. Even the categories, the spring is a clutter, clearing the clutter. Summer is having a fruitful summer. Fall is cultivating contentment. And then, there is no winter one because setting up for the year is really your winter one. There's only 3 quarterly ones. So that is the inside of the Power Sheets. I can't recommend these enough. I think that they are worth every penny. The price of the Power Sheets is $60. Again, we'll talk about some launch day discounts, not on the Power Sheets by themselves, but some bundles that you can get. But even if you just want to get the Power Sheets at $60, that is $5 a day, and it is worth every single penny, in my opinion. All right. Let's set those aside for now and start talking about the accessories. So they have a page in this little book of fun here of all the accessories. So we're gonna start with this page and just go 1 through 13. The ones that I do have here in person to show you, I will show them to you. The ones that I don't, I will just talk about what I think about them. I'll share with you which ones I think that I'm gonna be purchasing and then which ones I will probably skip over. So let's start with number 1, which is the gift wrap book. And it is $24. There's also another picture of it over here on this page. So it says that it comes with 12 fold-out sheets and 12 foil gift tags. And it comes in 4 designs. So it looks like they each repeat 3 times. I'm torn on this because I bet it's beautiful. Knowing their quality, like even this book, y'all, is like super high quality and beautiful. I know the quality is gonna be there. And in reality, at $24, that's $2 per present. I easily pay that for a gift bag at the drugstore. Because I live in a small apartment, I don't keep rolls of wrapping paper. Now, if you can keep rolls of wrapping paper, that's gonna be more cost effective than this. But I can't keep rolls of wrapping paper. So I kind of like this option as like a space saving option, but to have beautiful like wrapping paper at my disposal. And at $2 a present, like it's really not a bad price because I know the quality is gonna be there. So this one is high up on my list. It's still a maybe. We'll see if it hops into my cart on launch day, but I'm leaning towards it. Also, any accessories that I do order on launch day, I probably won't create a separate video for, but I will share them in a weekly vlog. So just keep an eye out. Okay, the second one is the wall calendar. So it's the Your Best Year wall calendar. I do have this from this current year. It's at my desk at work. Truthfully, it's more of a decoration. I don't use the wall calendar for anything specific, except the quote on the top is beautiful and it just looks nice up on my calendar. Also, people will sometimes randomly like reference a wall calendar at your desk when you're talking about scheduling a meeting or whatever. So having one there, everybody ends up having one at their desk because the company provides one. I just happen to have a prettier one, but it really is more of a decoration piece than like a function piece. And because I get a free one from the company, I may not grab this. This is lower on my maybe list. Still on my maybe list because I know that the 2019 one was beautiful and I loved looking at the quotes, but I'm not sure that I need the 2021. I will say though, I don't have this in person, but the 2019 one was like bound like this on the top. So when you were hanging it up, you really had to press it down to make it flat to hang it on the wall. And it looks like the new one is coiled at the top, which I think is a really, really good improvement on the product. And I think that if you do use a wall calendar, I think $22, absolutely worth it. All right, the next thing is the pouch, which I do have to show you. So I got the teal pouch. As you can see here, it comes in 3 colors. It comes in teal, it comes in that flower print, and it comes in the green. So I chose the teal because I thought that it would look the best with my Power Sheets. It's huge, y'all. Like, look at this. It almost covers the entire Power Sheets. I am blown away by how big this is. And it's got a pink elastic on the back and then a little pink zipper, and it's got this little gold, this is their like Cultivate leaves logo. I wish it didn't have this. Truthfully, I wish it was just plain teal, but I love how big this pouch is. So it goes all the way around my Power Sheets, like, you know, pretty easily. But again, it's so big. I'm just really excited about the size because let me show you, here is last year's pouch. Look how much shorter it is. So last year's pouch, I didn't use all that much because I really struggled to get the sticker book inside of it. It fit like height and width, but getting it in the pocket was really hard. So I didn't really use my pouch all that much last year, but I think I will get a lot more use out of this year's pouch because it is so big and getting the sticker book in and out is really easy. It's got the same pattern on the inside as it did last year, this like rainbow little leaf pattern. I'm not sure if they all have the same pattern on the inside. I don't think there is. The pouch does have its own page, but I don't think there's a picture of what the inside looks like. No. So have to imagine the green one also has that rainbow on the inside, but I'm not sure if they did that on the flower one. That flower one is really pretty, y'all. When I was regretting or leaning towards, I kind of wanted the pink cover, I was like, oh, with that flower pouch, oh, it'd be so pretty. But I'm very happy with my choice, my teal pouch and my confetti power sheets. Okay, the next thing is the Cultivate What Matters washi tape, and it is these 4 rolls for $12, which, I mean, at $3 a roll, like, we've paid more for washi tape. And these are still on my maybe, but really leaning towards no, and here's why. I hardly ever used the washi tape from last year. So I got the washi tape last year. It was only these 3 rolls, and I really didn't use it at all. And not because it's not good quality, I just like never pulled it out. I think part of the problem also is that I hardly ever used my pouch, and the washi was like in my pouch, but my pouch was like not on my power sheets because it didn't hold my sticker book. It was just, there was a lot of things. So I think this year I'm just gonna try and use the washi that I have and not order the new washi, especially because there is definitely a repeat of the confetti pattern. Actually, I think it's 5 rolls. I'm totally wrong. It's 5 rolls. It's not 4. It's hard because this pink one is definitely the same roll, but it looks like it's this like teal stripe, the pink one with the words, the confetti, this teal with the gold Cultivate, and then the flower. And truthfully, the only one that I really want out of that set is the flower one because I have the confetti one and the other 3 like just don't jump out at me. So again, I think I'm leaning towards no for the washi, but if you didn't get last year's washi, I would recommend getting the washi. My plan is to use this in the monthly layouts to mark things that take up multiple days, like travel and whatnot. And I think just having a set of washi that's in my pouch that goes with my power sheets is helpful. But because I have last year's set, I don't need this year's set. Okay, the next thing is this new Legacy Journal, number 5, and it is $18. It has its own page as well. It actually has a 2-page spread. So it looks like it's this really nice linen cover, and it's got 3 different very pastel options. And here's what sort of the inside of it looks like. It looks really beautiful. And again, their stuff is always very high quality. I'm always very impressed with the quality. I don't need another journal, especially in a like super pastel color. If these came in like the confetti or the flowers, I would consider it, but I don't need a pastel journal. All right, the next one are these magnetic page markers. They are $8 for 3 of the little bookmarks. I'm really tempted. I really like the idea of these. In my power sheets last year, I used these little ollie clips a lot to mark different pages. And so I like the idea of having some that match. So these are still a maybe for me. They might hop into my cart. These are maybe leaning yes. Okay, the next accessory is this Joyful Greeting card set, number 7 there for $24. I can't, like it doesn't say in this book anywhere how many it comes with, but the last one that I got, I believe it came with, I wanna say it came with 24. I'm trying to remember. When I did the math, I was like, I think it was 24 because I think I was blown away that it was $1 per card because they are super high quality, and it also comes with envelopes that are gorgeous. They have the confetti pattern on the inside of the envelope. It was just, I was blown away by the quality. So I likely will be getting these again. Like I'm gonna look, it looks like there are 6 designs, and I'm pretty sure that we got 4 of each design and that there were 24. If that's the same case here, these are definitely a yes for me because at $1 a card, I mean, you can't buy a card at the drugstore for less than $1. And that's like the dollar section, right? The high quality ones are like $3, $4, $5, $6. So for $1 a card, I highly recommend these. I really love the set that I have. I will try to find the video where I reviewed that other set, and I will link that for you below. Okay, the next thing is number 8, and this is a set of everyday lined journals. So it's 3 journals that are coming in a set. They have their own section as well. So it's $18, so it's really like $6 a journal, and they just look like they're lined on the inside with a little flower thing in the corner. So we've got the flowers, the confetti, and then this sort of blue stripe. I don't need these because again, I have notebooks coming out of my ears. I really like this idea because it's probably thin that it might fit in that folder. I don't know, that folder was really tight, but that was the only thought of these, but these are probably a no for me. Okay, the next one is the sticker book, which I do have to share with you, the new goal setting sticker book. I am really excited about this. I like their stickers. I like to use them in my power sheets. The best part is the color coding system, which I will talk about in a second, because the first page is actually this like gorgeous quote page. Now, We all know how I feel about gold. I still love this page. I mean, I wish these solid gold ones were solid, not gold, but the colorful ones, oh, these are so pretty. I really like these, and I definitely plan to use these in my power sheets. I wish I'd used my stickers more last year. I think I was trying too hard, you know, oh, I want to save them and not use all of them, but like, I need to just use them. The other big change to the sticker book is the top. Let me grab last year's sticker book. The pages came out really easily. Like they were coming apart and it was such a huge pain. They were just glued together at the top, but they just, for whatever reason, did not stay well. And that was a big complaint from last year. So they changed it this year to be this, I don't really know what it is at the top. I don't know. It's not glue though. It's like paper at the top. But so far, I've been like kind of flipping around with them, trying to see if I could get one to fall out. They definitely don't fall out as easily as last year's version did. We'll see how they hold up over a year. The next couple pages are all about the color coding. Here are my thoughts on this. I love the color coding. It's like one of my favorite things about the power sheets. Why are there still 10 colors when they cut the goals down to 8? I don't need 10 colors anymore. I need 8 colors. I would rather have more of 8 colors than 10 colors. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if I'm crazy, like am I not realizing something, but I feel like since there are only 8 categories, they could have eliminated 2 of these colors and added more stickers. There are 2 pages of the flags, and these are for the goal, like pages where you list your goals, and then the refresh pages that you are supposed to do every quarter. And then you have the little color coding dots, and these are for your tending list. What I do like though, I will say, is that they are the same colors as last year, so I can use the ones that I haven't used up from last year. So you have another page of dots, so I think you have 3 total pages of dots and then a page of hearts. I never really used the hearts before, but what I think I might use the hearts for next year is the calendar and putting stuff on the calendar and being able to color code those. All right, and then you have just a bunch of other sticker sheets. These sheets are all very similar to the sticker book from last year. They're really, I'll share with you the ones that are really different, but for the most part, these are all very similar. I'm flipping pretty quickly. Feel free to slow down the video or pause if you want to look at them, but I'm just sort of quickly flipping through them. They're beautiful, and I do like using them. One other comment, I like these for the tending list page. Let's try it out actually. So one of the big comments from last year, which hopefully they fixed, although one of the things I'm about to say they didn't fix. So I don't feel like there are enough of these because I would like to use them for all of my monthly action items, but there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's only enough for 3 per month, and I have more than 3 per month. But the other thing is that they were too short. And it looks like, okay, I just put it down a little bit past. It looks like they fixed it. So they either made the stickers a little bit longer or they made the boxes a little bit shorter, but now they fit perfectly. But there's still not enough of them. I still wish I had more of them. So those I can't use, the ones from last year, because they are too short. All right, let's keep flipping. Get through this video. We still have a couple more accessories to flip through. So this page is obviously new because this is their new design for this year. This is the same, although I think this little running guy is new. These 3 icons are definitely repeats, but I think some of these down here are new. But these are all wellness related. Celebrate. This page is the same, the holiday page. And then this page is new. They had some of these quotes in the last version, but not all of them. And I do really like these sometimes to use in like the encouraging word section up here or the top priority. So I like that page. So I highly recommend the goal setting sticker book, even if it's just for the color coding. I think that helps me a lot with my power sheets. Okay, the next one, number 10, is the weekly sticky notepad, which is exactly the same as the one from last year, which I do have. I like this. I do find myself using this sometimes if I'm like having a really busy week and I need to just like live off of a notepad. I also tried to use this a little bit for social media planning at one point because I like that it's actually sticky. Like it's sticky on the back. It goes sticky for maybe about an inch or so, inch and a half. It's sticky. So I would stick this inside my planner cover, and I was using this to plan social media. I haven't been doing that recently, but that was one of my random ideas. So I'm obviously not grabbing this because I already have one, but I do like this. If there's something that you can see yourself using this for, either meal planning or planning in advance, this also makes a really good notepad to like plan your week before you actually put it in your planner, I think that this is a great option. Okay, the next thing is the Wildcard page pack number 11. So it is $10 and I do have that to show you. So let's go ahead and flip through these. Last year, I did not get the pre-printed ones. I figured I would just use the ones that they have available online. I actually never ended up using the ones that they had available online. And then I even got the summer pack. They sent that to me and I didn't end up using any of those either. I'm gonna try to be better about using them this year. I'm gonna put them in my pocket here, hopefully. Like I said, this pocket is tight. Okay, they're all not gonna fit in that pocket, but I'm gonna put some of them in that pocket and then hopefully if they're in the forefront of my mind, I'm more likely to use them. But there are a lot of duplicates in this pack and we'll count them as we go through because it is $10, but I didn't actually count them yet. So you have one perpetual calendar, which I do like this one. You have 2, 3, 4 fun lists. So they say to brainstorm a seasonal bucket list or adventures. And I think that's probably why they included 4. So you could do 1 per season. I might use these. We'll see. I've been wanting to make a New York City bucket list before I actually move. I'm not moving anytime soon, but I am gonna move eventually. And so I might use one of these for those. So there's 5. Then you have organization and decluttering. So you get 2 of these and it's got like spaces to declutter and scheduling it with some different ideas. I don't know if I'm actually gonna use those, we'll see. Then you have cultivated self-care. So you have 1, 2 of these. So how can I love myself better? Ideas I feel most refreshed, rest to recharge, adventures, and habits. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna use these sheets either, but they're cute. So 2 there, and then what to read next. So a list of books that you wanna read. I can definitely see myself using this. There's 5. Books that I've read. I've been tracking this on Goodreads this year, but I like the idea of keeping a list in my power sheets. There's 11. All right, then we have cleaning schedules, which I definitely should try and use these. So once a month, once a week, every day, and once a season. I like that there's little like check boxes here, but really you could only use these 1 month if you're gonna check them off. I might use 1 to make like a master list and then 1 like the month I implement it maybe. I'm not sure. So that's 3 there. And then you have relationship tending. So there's 2 of these. So you have a friend, a relationship that you want to tend to and how you'll tend to it, and then some ideas. We'll see. I might use these. I might use these. Let's see if there's enough from all of my siblings here. I have 7 siblings, so we could do, you know, all 7 of them. That's a lot. So there's 15. Then we have a financial check-in. So there are 4 of those. So I think maybe 1 per quarter, and it's just sort of checking in with your assets and your liabilities and what your net worth is. I think this is interesting because I do all of my budgeting on a spreadsheet. I never do it written, but I kind of like the idea of looking at my total net worth. I don't know that I would like post this, not like post on the internet, but like keep it anywhere. Like I don't need to look at it, I guess. I guess it's to compare the month before, the quarter before, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, so there's 4 of those. Looks like there might be 25 maybe. So then we have go-to meals, breakfast favorites, lunch favorites, dinner favorites. I really do like this page and should use this a little bit more. So that's 20. And then we have 2 notes pages ones that's got like a teal flower pattern at the top. And then we have goals at a glance. So there are 2 of those. So either there's 24 or I miscounted because 24 seems like a weird number, but I like these goals at a glance pages. I like the idea of putting this like on my my desk so I can look at them. I do, however, wish there were 4 of these because if I am gonna follow through and refresh every quarter, then I wish I had 4 so that when I change it, I can, you know, change this again, if that makes sense. So for $10, it's probably worth it. The quality is nice and having, you know, the color printing, and it's a smaller size. Now, the one problem this year is that they lost a page for you to actually add these on. So last year when, let me show you, this page was on its own, you could put one of these on the back and then you can put another one here. I also don't know how much I'm gonna actually put them here though. I think for me, I can see myself just more, again, keeping the ones that I like in the pocket. So let's try and count these again and see if there are 25s. Nope, there are 24. So just something to note, it's $10 and you get 24 wildcard sheets. Okay, number 12 are these pep talk postcards for $12. I am definitely getting these. I got the postcards over the summer that they launched. They sent me those. They were a bunch of like vegetable puns and I really liked them. I definitely want these. I'm also really tempted though not to use these to mail to people, but to like put like places for me, like having motivational quotes for me, because I bet that all the quotes are beautiful and I'm just really excited about those. And then the last accessory this year is the Gold Card display set. It's $10 and it does have its own page as well. So it comes with 12 gold foil cards. I am definitely getting these. I'm really excited about these, and my plan for them is each month to write like my main focus for the month, whatever that is, and put this up on my desk where I can see it every time I sit down at my desk. So I like that it comes with a set of 12. I might actually get 2 sets and put one like on my fridge or on my mirror or at my desk at work or something else, like for $10, and I'm sure the quality is great, knowing their quality. I know I've said that like 400 million times. I definitely want to get at least 1, if not 2 sets of these. Okay, and then the last accessory, which is on its own page because it's not part of that bundle, is a pullover. So it's this cute like crew neck sweatshirt. It says that it's super soft. It's $40. It's got the logo on the front and then It's a New Day on the back. I probably am not gonna grab this just because I'm trying to slim down the amount of clothing that I purchase, and especially something that I probably won't wear all that often because I do, like if I work from home, maybe I would get something like this, but I get up and go to work every day. So I'm probably not gonna grab that at this time. Okay, so let's quickly talk about launch day. So on launch day, if you order, you will get one of these little stickers. So it's like a pretty thick decal. I think I'm gonna put it on one of my Yeti cups. It's really pretty and it says Cultivate What Matters. So every order placed on launch day will get this sticker. And if you order over $100, you will get free shipping. Any combination, $100 of anything gets you free shipping. Then there are a couple bundles. So the bundle that I definitely recommend is the Best Year bundle. So it is $20 off. So it is $95. You get the power sheets of your choice, so any cover that you want. You get the goal setting sticker book. You get the pouch of your choice, so any of the patterns that we talked about. You get the washi tape and you get the Wildcard page pack. I think that if this is your first time ordering power sheets, I think that this is a great deal because really the power sheets in the sticker book, I recommend like 100%. And then I think the pouch is a great way to hold your sticker book close to your power sheets. So this is the best bundle. This bundle is limited quantity. Like the bundle discount is limited quantity, especially in different color combinations. So if you are interested in getting this bundle and you're watching this before launch day, I highly recommend that you order it on launch day because the color combinations between the covers and the pouches will likely start to sell out. The other bundle option they have, you probably saw on this page, is the I Want It All bundle. So it comes with one of every one of these accessories on this page. So there's 13 accessories, every single one. And again, you get to pick the pouch that you want. And then it also comes with a set of power sheets and you do get to pick the cover that you want. And that is $40 off. So it's $221 total. Typically the power sheets by themselves, if you just want to get the power sheets on launch day, they don't usually sell out on launch day. They will sell out later in the year, but they will update us on Instagram as launch day goes on with anything that is running low on stock and whether they plan to replenish it. Some things they do, some things they don't. So I'd recommend following their Instagram, Cultivate What Matters, to just be updated on what is close to being out of stock. That is gonna be it. Those are the new power sheets and all of the new accessories and all the fun things that you can get. I love the catalog. I love the hardcover. I'm so excited to dig into 2020. It is going to be the best year ever. I think 2019 was such a growth year for me in just learning how to goal set and how to use the power sheets. I'm so excited about some of the changes that they made and I'm ready to dig in. But there is still time in 2019, but I am ready for 2020. Let me know in the comments which cover spoke to you the most. If you're grabbing the power sheets or even if you're not, which cover speaks to you either through the aesthetics or through the words. Let me know in the comments. I love hearing everybody's thoughts and which one they're drawn to. If you have any other questions, also feel free to leave those in the comments and I will answer those as soon as possible. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning. So then it starts with that sounds funny. All right, and then you have a bank page. I like the color a little bit better. I can't talk. I easily play that. So it goes all the way around my power sheets. Whoa, hold on. So I'll flip through the sticker book. The next couple pages are all about the goal setting. Not this whole thing is about goal setting, like, and that's not what I meant. They had some of the